Mr. Liu made me choose between 8 million and his daughter. Was that even a choice? Only a fool would pick love. And that fool used to be me. I just didn't know back then. That one choice would ruin 10 years of my life. I chased Lu Rian for years, and all I got was her coldness. On our last shopping trip, I protected her and died in that alley. Before I died, she didn't even react. Like I meant nothing to her. This time, I was done being her loyal dog, so I calmly reached out and took the check. Then I looked at her father, smiling brightly, like I actually meant it. "Thank you, Uncle Liu." Inside that luxury private room, his prepared speech got stuck instantly. Even his authority disappeared. Even Fang Ping, her childhood friend, froze. And Lu Rian, the girl who never showed emotion, finally reacted. I folded the check carefully and slipped it into my jeans. Then I stood and bowed slightly. "Don't worry, Uncle Liu. From today on, I won't bother Miss Liu again." Then I turned to Lu Rian, my voice calm. "Sorry for bothering you these years. Wish you the best." Lu Rian's body shook slightly. For once, she looked at me. Those beautiful eyes weren't cold anymore. There was something complicated inside them. Before she spoke, I turned away. "Fan Texi, I thought you had pride. Turns out, you're just another guy chasing money. 3 years of love for 8 million. You really sold out." I stopped walking. In my last life, those words made me snap. I rushed him and fought. Then the guards threw me out. This time, I just pitied him. "Young Master Fang, first, it wasn't 10 years, just 3. Second, it wasn't love. It was one-sided chasing. Third, I didn't sell anything. Chairman Liu simply paid me for 3 wasted years. Being the backup guy still costs time and energy. 8 million sounds fair to me." I pushed open the door and left without looking back. Behind me, the room went silent. Outside the hotel, the sunset hit my eyes. I looked at the check. That long number almost made me cry. Screw love. Screw pride. I got another chance. This time, I chose money. I didn't cash the check immediately. Lu Zhengguo was too cunning. There could be a trap. Maybe hidden conditions. Maybe the check was fake, just to humiliate me. So I called a cab. Back to my old apartment. The room was tiny, dark, noisy, and smelled like mold. In my previous life, I lived there for 3 years, just to stay near her school. I opened my old laptop. I didn't rush anything. I just leaned back, thinking about my biggest advantage now. What did this second life give me? Information. 10 years of future trends. Which stocks would explode? Which industries would take off? I remembered all of it. I opened a trading app and searched Tengfi Tech. I remembered it clearly. Tomorrow, this tiny unknown company would release a new chip patent, and its stock would skyrocket. I picked up my phone and called Lu Rian. My voice stayed calm. "Your stuff's packed. I left it outside my door. Send someone to get it. And I changed my number, so don't contact me again." Before she answered, I hung up immediately. Then I pulled out the SIM card, snapped it, and tossed it away. Finally, some peace. Early the next morning, I went straight to the bank. To my surprise, the check cleared instantly. When the bank notification came, and I saw all those zeros, it finally felt real. My life had truly restarted. I didn't hesitate. I put all 8 million into stocks and went all in on Tengfi Tech. Walking out of the exchange building, I suddenly felt lighter than ever. Now all I had to do was wait. I never returned to that apartment. Instead, I checked into the city's best hotel, an executive suite. I soaked in a hot bath, sipped cold champagne, and looked over the city lights. Honestly, it felt unreal. While I was lost in thought, my phone suddenly buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It was Lou Rian. Fantexi, where are you? Why did you throw away everything I gave you? I ignored it. Then I blocked the number. This time, I chose myself first. Over the next week, I lived the life I used to dream about. Sleeping in every morning. Having rooftop breakfasts. Every meal absurdly expensive. Afternoons at the gym. Or wasting time by the pool. At night, I explored Zhangcheng. I threw away my cheap shirts. And old jeans. And switched to designer suits. Looks really do matter. Turns out it's true. Money really changes people. As for Teng Fi Tech, I barely checked it anymore. That night, I met two friends. At Zhangcheng's top club, Cloud Palace. The bass shook the room. And the air reeked of money and perfume. In my last life, I couldn't even enter. Now I sat in the best VIP booth. Come on. One more drink. The model beside me leaned closer, smiling sweetly. I smiled back, about to answer, when I spotted someone familiar nearby. Lou Rian. Why was she here? Fang Ping stood beside her, along with a few rich kids. Fang Ping was bragging loudly, while Lou Rian stayed distant, completely out of place there. Then she saw me too. The moment our eyes met, I saw surprise in her eyes, then confusion, and finally, that same disgust. Fang Ping followed her gaze, then flashed a fake dramatic grin. He pushed through the crowd toward me, raising his voice on purpose, clearly trying to attract attention. Well, if it isn't the legendary Fantexi. Already spending Uncle Lou's 8 million. Feeling rich already. The rich kids behind him burst out laughing. They mocked me quietly, calling me a simp sold for 8 million. A disgrace to men. My two friends beside me looked painfully awkward. They wanted to leave, but I stopped them gently. No need. I picked up my glass and slowly swirled the whiskey. I didn't even look at him. Young Master Fang. Long time no see. How's business lately? I heard Fang Group's overseas projects ran into trouble. What are you talking about? I took a sip of whiskey before continuing calmly. That Southeast Asia port project got hit by policy changes. That investment's basically dead now, right? And that chip supply deal. Changxi Capital took it already, didn't they? Pretty unlucky, if you ask me. I remembered all this from last life's financial news. Cold sweat instantly formed on Fang Ping's forehead. Those were company secrets. Only the board knew about them. You investigated me. I set down my glass. Then I finally looked at him. My voice turned cold. Young Master Fang, you think too highly of yourself. You're not worth it. I stood up, taller than him, and looked down at him. My eyes were full of contempt. Fix your own problems first. Stop barking at people all day. The laughter around us slowly faded. Everyone could feel the mood change. Fang Ping was completely crushed by my pressure. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. I ignored him. I pulled out a stack of cash and set it down. Ladies, that's enough for tonight. Get home safe. Then I adjusted my suit collar and walked past Fang Ping. When I passed Lou Rian, I slowed down slightly. She was staring at me. The shock in her eyes grew even stronger. I gave her a faint smile, one she clearly understood. Miss Liu, judge people better next time. Then I turned and left. After leaving the club, I didn't go back to the hotel. I drove straight to the airport. Lingcheng. Held too much pain from my past life. Now that I had my first fortune, it was time to leave and start over somewhere new. The plane took off before sunrise. Destination, Zhangcheng. On the plane, I turned off my phone and fell asleep in first class. When I opened my eyes again, we had already landed in Zhangcheng. Walking outside, I breathed in the air of opportunity. For once, I felt truly alive. I didn't rush to buy a house. Instead, I rented a long-term suite at Zhangcheng's best riverside residence. Standing before those floor-to-ceiling windows, looking over the glowing river skyline, I knew this was my real stage now. The next morning, when the market opened, my broker called immediately. His voice shook with excitement. Mr. Fan, it's soaring. Teng Fi Tech hit limit up. I only gave a calm hum before saying, don't sell before 150. After hanging up, I started planning my next move. Stock money was only quick cash. It meant nothing long-term. I needed my own business empire. Thanks to my rebirth memories, I already knew what would happen. Across the next few years, internet healthcare, new energy, EVs, and AI would become the biggest trends. I spent an entire week pulling all-nighters, building a full business plan. I was starting an investment firm, focused on finding startups early and investing before everyone else. 1 month later, Tech exploded exactly as expected. Its stock price hit 150. The money in my account grew from 8 million to 300 million. I cashed out immediately and locked the profit. With that startup money, Dynasty Capital officially launched in Zhangcheng. Our office sat on the top floor of Global Business Center. Then I started hiring. I offered insane salaries and bonuses. And with enough money, I recruited top analysts and traders. At first, those finance elites didn't respect a guy in his 20s running the company. But after I predicted 3 market crashes and led them into short positions, making 50 million in one day, their attitude completely changed. My life became busier every day. Meetings non-stop, endless business reports, and endless partners to deal with. Slowly, I forgot Yuncheng, forgot Lu Rian, forgot that miserable past. Until one day, my secretary placed a gold invitation on my desk. Mr. Fan, next week at Nanchang Convention Center, there's an international business summit. The organizers sent this invitation, hoping you'll attend. I took it and glanced over it. But when I saw the guest list, my fingers paused slightly. Lu Group really was impossible to avoid. Rejected for me. My secretary looked hesitant. Mr. Fan, this summit is huge. Almost half the Fortune 500 will be there. And Mr. Zhou, the organizer, the son of Shangjiang's richest man, personally invited you. I thought for a moment, then nodded. Fine, I'll go. 1 week later, I boarded a flight to Nanchang. After landing, I headed straight to the venue. But unexpectedly, the moment I walked in, Fang Ping rushed toward me. His eyes were bloodshot, like he'd completely lost it. Fan Texi, what did you do? Under the crystal chandeliers, Fang Ping grabbed my collar hard. Just now, he must have received the news that Fang Group's port project collapsed. I lowered my eyes to his trembling hand. Half a month ago, he was still Fang family's proud young master. Now, he looked like a complete clown to me. Young Master Fang, this suit is expensive. You probably can't afford it anymore. I grabbed his wrist, then twisted it slightly. A scream echoed instantly. Fang Ping let go immediately, clutching his wrist in pain. I calmly fixed my collar. Dynasty Capital, where did you get the money? How did you know our plans? I owe it all to Uncle Lu's 8 million. It helped me buy Tengfi Tech in time. That's why Dynasty Capital exists today. I said it casually, but every word hit Fang Ping like a knife. He froze completely. His face turned pale instantly. Just then, Lu Rian walked out of the crowd, wearing a white dress. Her eyes were full of shock and confusion. She quickly walked toward me. Fan Texi, do you really have to go this far? I turned toward her. The face I once loved for 3 years now meant absolutely nothing. She was just a stranger now. Miss Lu, business is war. When Fang Ping kept humiliating me, you never thought he crossed the line. Lu Rian opened her mouth, but couldn't say a word. I ignored them both. Right in front of everyone, I walked straight toward the VIP section. I approached Mr. Zhou, and lightly clinked glasses with him. We hit it off immediately. Soon, we reached an agreement. Dynasty Capital would work with Zhou Group on a new energy project. Young man, you're impressive. You saw through the Fang family perfectly. I only followed the trend. You flatter me, Mr. Zhou. I raised my glass back after seeing him off. I was about to leave. Then the lounge door opened. Lu Rian walked in. The arrogance from earlier was gone. In her eyes, I saw exhaustion and pleading. She whispered, can we talk? Not about business. Just talk. I leaned back on the sofa and poured warm water. My voice stayed flat. Miss Lu, I have an international meeting later. You have 3 minutes. You never used to call me that. About the 8 million. My dad was only testing you. He never meant to drive you away. Hearing that, I almost laughed. A test, throwing 8 million at me. Then having guards drag me out. That was a test. Miss Liu, if that's all you came to say, you're wasting my time. Liu Ruyan froze. Tears filled her eyes. Then slowly fell. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and walked right past her. As our shoulders brushed, I didn't look back. Miss Liu, don't bring up feelings again. Between us, only business remains. 3 days after returning to Zhangcheng, I received a call from Lu Zhengguo. His voice no longer carried authority. Now it shook with anger and panic. Fan Texi, what exactly do you want? You stole Fang Group's project, and now you're buying Lu Group shares. I sat in Dynasty Capital's top floor office, looking over the Zhangcheng River. I casually turned on speakerphone, my tone calm. Uncle Lu, you taught me yourself. In business, only profit matters. I believe Lu Group shares have great investment value. What's wrong with that? Glass shattered on the other end. Chairman Lu had clearly lost control. This is revenge. Because of Rian, you want to destroy us. You think too highly of Miss Liu. Revenge. I'm just making money. After that, I hung up and blocked Lu Zhengguo's number. I watched the screen, where Lu Group's stock price kept climbing. My expression stayed calm. Lu Group looked powerful outside, but inside, it was already rotten. Its foundation was cracking apart. All I needed to do was give that giant empire one small push. Not long after, my secretary knocked and entered. Mr. Fan, Miss Liu Ruyan is downstairs insisting on seeing you. She says she'll wait however long it takes. I wiped my Patek Philippe watch, a faint amused smile on my lips. Half a month ago, I couldn't even enter the Liu family gate. Half a month later, their precious daughter waited outside my office. Let her wait. I'll see her after I finish this report. 2 hours later, Liu Ruyan entered my office. She looked exhausted. Even her flawless makeup couldn't hide the tiredness in her eyes. She held a document tightly. It was Lu Group's final restructuring plan. Fan Texi, I'm begging you, stop. My father's health is failing. If Lu Group collapses, he won't survive it. I turned my chair and looked at the ice queen I once worshipped. All I felt was irony. Miss Liu, begging needs the right attitude. And that restructuring plan, I'm not interested. Then what do you want? As long as Lu Group survives, I'll agree to anything. I stood up and walked toward her. She instinctively stepped back. Panic flashed across her eyes. I pointed at the document, snatched it away, and fed it into the shredder. I want 51% control of Lu Group. And Lu Zhengguo must apologize publicly. That's impossible. My father would never agree. Never. I walked back to my desk. My eyes turned cold. There was no room to negotiate. Then there's nothing left to discuss. Miss Liu, if you don't agree by tomorrow, your family won't just lose the company. You'll drown in debt too. Think carefully. Liu Ruyan collapsed into the chair. Her face turned pale. She stared at me, like she was looking at a monster. Leave. You're wasting my time. I gave the order coldly. Liu Ruyan silently left my office. A few days later, I sat in my Rolls-Royce, watching creditors crowd outside Lu Group's building. My face stayed expressionless. Lu Zhengguo was probably hiding upstairs, desperately calling his so-called old friends, begging for help. Through the car Bluetooth, the listening device played Lu Zhengguo's furious voice. Back when your company needed money, wasn't I the one who saved you? Now I only need your 6.3% shares. And you're demanding market price. Do you have no conscience? Listening to him, I smiled coldly. Lu Zhengguo still didn't understand. In this profit-driven world, there are no forever friends, only forever profit. And I offered old lead triple market price. He had no reason to refuse. If Chairman Lu won't apologize, then make the fire burn hotter. I calmly gave the order. After hanging up, I told my secretary to begin phase 2. Less than 10 minutes later, news about Lu Group's financial fraud and tax evasion allegations flooded every finance page. As breaking news, it was one of the gifts I prepared for them. Impossible. Only senior executives knew those accounts. How did Fan Texi get them? Lu Zhengguo's desperate roar echoed through the device. I listened without any emotion. Uncle Lu, this is only the beginning. Lu Group's stock price crashed hard. In just 1 hour, Billions vanished from its value. By evening, a violent storm hit Zhongcheng. Heavy rain slammed against the windows, crackling non-stop. I walked out of Global Business Center holding a black umbrella. At a glance, I saw Lu Rian in the rain. She had no umbrella. She was soaked completely. Her messy hair clung to her face. That proud posture was completely gone now. The moment she saw me, she rushed toward me, but my bodyguards stopped her immediately. "Fan Texi, please see my father. He had a heart attack. He's in the hospital now. He wants to apologize in person. I'm begging you." I stopped walking and looked at her through the rain. Water ran down her face. Rain or tears, I couldn't tell. If apologies worked, why need police? "Go home, Miss Lu. Don't stand here acting tragic. It's useless. You never used to be like this. You used to worry if I even caught a cold. Why are you so cruel now?" "Because the Fan Texi who cared about you already died once. In that dark alley. The man here now only sees profit, not feelings." I walked around her toward the Rolls-Royce. Behind me, Lu Rian cried out. Then said something I never expected. "Fan Texi. As long as you spare my family, I'll agree to anything. Even marrying you." Marriage. "Miss Lu. With your current state, you're not even fit to be my receptionist." The car door slammed shut, cutting off the storm and her misery. Lu Group's shareholder meeting began on time. I pushed open the conference room door. The noisy room went silent. Every shareholder stared at me. I walked straight toward the seat. That represented absolute power. It used to belong to Lu Zhengguo. Now, it was mine. "Mr. Fan, please look. All the shares we hold have been transferred as agreed. From now on, Lu Group is yours." Several shareholders rushed over, wearing flattering smiles. These old foxes changed faces fast. I opened the file before me, then looked around the room. My tone left no doubt. From today on, this is no longer Lu Group. It will be Dynasty Technology. Every direct Lu family member must leave within 1 hour. Clear out every office. The moment I finished, a commotion came from the corner. Lu Xiaojun rushed in, screaming like a madman, "Fan Texi. What right do you have to kick me out? This company belongs to my family. You're just a stray who got lucky. Get him out. Didn't you hear me?" The bodyguards stepped forward and dragged Lu Xiaojun out like trash. His curses echoed down the hall, but not one shareholder dared speak for him. I turned toward Lu Rian at the end. Her head was lowered, her hands clenched tightly. "Miss Lu, for old time's sake, I left you an apartment. Move there with your father. At least you won't be homeless." My tone stayed calm, with no pity at all. Lu Rian slowly raised her head. Her eyes were empty. She said nothing. She only stood up and left in silence. I stood on the terrace, Zhongcheng's night view before me. The Lu family's collapse shook the city's financial circle. But I knew it was only one foundation stone for my business empire. "Brother Fan, clean work with the Lu family. But that chip production land you've been eyeing won't be easy to take." "Brother Joe, did you hear something?" Mr. Joe pointed toward a nearby table. A woman sat there, her gaze sharp as a blade. Her whole presence warned people away. "That's Bai Ningbing, the head of the Min family in Bidu. And over the next 10 years, she would dominate the AI industry. The Min family wants that chip project too. People call her the red-haired witch. Her methods are ruthless beyond imagination. Weak opponents aren't fun to play with." As if sensing my gaze, Bai Ningbing slowly turned around, raised her glass toward me, and smiled. Her eyes carried teasing and scrutiny. In my previous life, The Min family entered Zhongcheng 3 years later. I didn't expect my rebirth to create a butterfly effect and bring this rival out early. I returned a polite smile, then turned and left. After finishing the Lu paperwork, I somehow drove back to the old urban village. It was still dark and cramped. The narrow alleys smelled like smoke. As I looked around, I saw a familiar figure, struggling with heavy boxes. Lu Rian, surprised. I ended up living where you once lived. Is this the revenge you wanted? She leaned against the peeling wall, holding cheap instant noodles. The Lu family princess who once only ate at luxury restaurants was now arguing with the landlord over 100 yuan rent. I never wanted revenge. I only took back what was mine. As for your life now, that has nothing to do with me. Fan Texi. If you never took that check, if you were never reborn, would you have loved me forever? Hearing that question, I paused. Then I let out a quiet laugh. That question used to haunt me. Now it felt meaningless. There are no ifs. Miss Lu, nobody lives in the past forever. I took out a stack of cash and placed it beside her. This isn't pity. It's a final goodbye. This is the last time I help you. Don't let me see you like this again. I turned and walked toward the luxury car. Behind me, Lu Rian's quiet sobs echoed through the narrow alley. Dark clouds pressed over Zhongcheng, heavy and suffocating. Inside a tea house, Bai Ningbing sat across from me. Instead of her usual black suit, she wore a purple qipao. She looked softer and elegant, but her sharpness remained. She lowered her head calmly and prepared the tea. Steam slowly rose from the boiling teapot. Mr. Fan, I heard that for this chipland, you crushed the Lu family completely. Your information network is impressive. Just normal competition. Nothing worth exaggerating. In my previous life, Bai Ningbing was famous for exploiting information gaps to destroy her rivals. Unfortunately for her, I carried 10 years of future knowledge. All her schemes meant nothing to me. The Min family will take that chip project. Name your price and withdraw from the bidding. President Bai. Do I look like someone short on money? She paused briefly. Clearly, she didn't expect such a direct refusal. She must have investigated me already. In her files, I was still the poor guy who sold his pride for money. But she had no idea how big my ambitions were. Offending the Min family won't help dynasty capital. President Bai, I have one bad habit. The more people warn me away, the more interested I get. The tea room turned ice cold. Bai Ningbing never touched her tea. She stood up sharply. Her heels tapped the wooden floor, each step crisp and cold. At the doorway, she stopped. She looked back at me. Hope your backbone survives next week's bidding war. The door slammed shut. I set down my teacup and looked at the dark clouds outside. The Min family joining in was troublesome. But in the future I remembered, Bai Ningbing would face a major cash crisis next week after a failed overseas deal. That was my confidence. The hospital corridor felt deathly quiet. The smell of disinfectant filled the air. I pushed open the ward door. Lu Zhengguo lay in bed, an oxygen tube in his nose, his face pale as paper. I hadn't seen him for half a month. Yet he looked years older. His black hair fully gray. Lu Rian sat nearby, clumsily peeling an apple. Why are you here? To laugh at the Lu family. I'm not that bored. I came to discuss something. Lu Zhengguo slowly opened his eyes. His cloudy gaze struggled to focus on me. He parted his lips, his voice weak and hoarse. You won. Lu Group is gone. What else do you want? I want the deed to Lu Group's old Nanchung factory. In return, I'll cover all medical costs and arrange a decent job for Lu Rian. The apple slipped from her hand and rolled across the floor. She looked up sharply, eyes filled with humiliation and anger. Fan Texi, do you really have to take away our last dignity? Dignity is earned, not given. Chairman Lu, sign it. Lu Zhengguo's thin hand trembled as he signed the papers. The moment the pen lifted, it felt like all his strength disappeared. I took the document and turned to leave. Nobody knew that beneath that old factory would one day sit a future subway hub. In my past life, the Lu family missed it, and sold it cheaply to the Fang family. This time, that opportunity was mine. At the ward door, I stopped without turning back. Report to Dynasty Capital tomorrow. You'll be my assistant. This is your last chance. The next day, Lu Rian arrived, wearing a gray business suit. Her posture was stiff, her hands gripping a folder tightly. I didn't even look up. Assistant Lu, make 10 copies. At 3, come meet Bai Ningbing with me. The Min family controls a lot in Bidu. Are you really fighting them head-on? She finally asked. There was concern in her voice. Your job is to obey, not question me. The bidding venue felt extremely tense. Bai Ningbing sat on the left side, with her core team beside her. Every one of them looked calm and confident. I sat on the opposite side, with only Lu Rian behind me. The moment the bidding officially began, Bai Ningbing immediately raised the price. The room exploded in shock. Lu Rian leaned close, panic slipping into her voice. Mr. Fan, are you still bidding? No, but President Min should answer her secretary's call first. Bai Ningbing frowned, clearly confused. Just then, her secretary rushed in and whispered in her ear. In seconds, Bai Ningbing's expression changed from calm to pale. How did he know? 10 minutes earlier, the Min family's European acquisition was halted for violations. Their funding chain snapped, and I already knew it would happen. Was this your doing? I just knew the result early. President Min, since your family can't pay, I'll take the chip project. I raised my bidding card and offered slightly below the Min family. The room exploded again. Every eye locked onto me. Bai Ningbing stared at me like she wanted to tear me apart. After the bidding ended, I stepped out of the elevator and saw Bai Ningbing leaning on my car. She looked slightly disheveled. Fan Texi, who exactly are you? A guy barely in his 20s. Shouldn't have this kind of strategy. Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is that President Min urgently needs cash to patch Europe. She snapped her head up, her eyes filled with caution and shock. This was the Min family's deepest secret. She never revealed it publicly. Yet I said it casually. The Min family has deep roots in Bidu. I don't want a war with you. I want control of every Min family AI lab in the South. I'll inject 5 billion to help you survive this crisis. You're robbing me while I'm desperate. Correct, but President Min should know. Besides me, nobody dares fund your family right now. Bai Ningbing stayed silent. She was smart. Of course, she knew survival mattered more than pride. After a long pause, she looked at me. Something complicated flashed in her eyes. Hatred, anger, and something harder to describe. Deal, but I have one condition. I want shares in Dynasty Capital. Fine, but dividends only. No voting rights. I opened the car door and motioned for Lu Rian inside. Zhangcheng's riverside glowed at night. I sat at the dining table. Across from me sat Lu Rian. She worked especially hard today, even staying late organizing all the Min family lab files. She finally looked like a real assistant now. Fan Texi, thank you. Thank you for covering my father's bills. And for letting me witness all this. No need. This is payment for your work. Lu Rian, remember this. In this world, weakness is a sin. She stayed silent. She only stared quietly at the river view. With the Min family AI labs secured, I had officially gained my entry ticket into AI. The next 5 years of momentum were now in my hands. I ordered red wine and looked at the city lights across the river. Her eyes flickered slightly. Will you keep targeting the Lu family? They're no longer worth my attention. My goals are much bigger now. Lu Rian looked at me. Her eyes held emotions I'd never seen before, but I no longer cared. I stood up and straightened my suit. My eyes stayed cold. Inside the AI lab, hundreds of servers roared non-stop. The Min family logo was now replaced by Dynasty Capital. I watched the streams of data, knowing well, these cold lines of code would print money for 10 years. Lu Rian walked over with reports. She moved a lot sharper now. Mr. Fan, Professor Dong wants to see you. He's furious about the budget cuts to traditional research. Send him in. A gray-haired old man stormed through the door, face red with anger. Fan Texi, answer me. Do you know research at all? You dumped everything into neural networks. That path is dead. Professor Dong, in my company. There's no dead end, only speed. I walked to the board and grabbed a marker. Then I casually wrote a few formulas from deep learning models. That wouldn't exist for another 3 years. Professor Dong froze instantly. His eyes locked onto the board. His breathing turned uneven. Even his hands shook. This, impossible. How did you come up with this? I'm a businessman. I care about results. Just build it. I want a prototype in 3 months. Professor Dong stared at me like a monster. After a long silence, he grabbed the papers and rushed out. Once AI was secured, I shifted to EVs. In the future, this industry would mint trillionaires. And lithium was the key to everything. Today, I came for the biggest lithium permit. The room was packed with tycoons. Bai Ningbing was there too. She looked sharp and confident again, chatting with foreign investors. When she saw me, she smirked. Mr. Fan, AI isn't enough for you now. You want batteries too. Big ambitions. Don't choke on them. President Min, you never know until you try. But your family fixed that Europe mess yet? Bai Ningbing's smile stiffened. She quietly took a sip. Then the host announced, the Northwest Lithium rights. Go to Dynasty Capital. The room went silent. Every eye turned toward me. Bai Ningbing's glass shook. Wine splashed onto the floor. She stared at me in disbelief. She'd teamed up with 3 giants to lock me out completely. But I'd already gone around them and signed directly with the local government. When did you even go northwest? My people track you daily. You never left the city. Watching my car was your first mistake. I walked off with Lu Rian. After securing the lithium deal, I finally returned to Yuncheng to settle one last thing. The Lu mansion was sealed shut. Official notices covered the gate. Lu Zhengguo was trapped under investigation. I pushed the door open. A rotten smell hit instantly. Lu Zhengguo sat in a wheelchair, facing the window, completely motionless. Then he heard me. He slowly turned around. When he saw me, resentment flashed in his eyes. Then it faded. Hi Ji, here to see if I'm dead. I came to take back what I gave Rian. Not worth keeping anyway. A rusty metal box sat in the corner. Inside were all the gifts I spent 3 years saving for. Lu Rian stood frozen at the door. Her eyes turned red. Fan Texi, I kept everything. I never threw them away. Keeping them changes nothing, Lu Dong. Your bank debt. I already paid it off. Lu Zhengguo snapped his eyes to me. A little hope flickered there. Then it died. From today on, you're done with Lu Group. Rian stays in Zhangcheng. I'll make sure she's paid well. I picked up the heavy box. Without another word, I walked out and never looked back. At the alley, I tossed the box into a trash bin. Then I watched the truck take it away. Right then, some chain inside me finally snapped. 3 in the morning. Zhangcheng was dead silent. I sat in my office, reading several smear campaigns. Fang Ping was already in prison. But the Fang family still wouldn't stop. They worked with jealous media outlets, angry at Dynasty's rise. Their plan: call my money dirty. Lu Rian pushed the door open. She looked exhausted, but still professional. President Fan, legal sent the letters. But public opinion is worsening. Some accuse you of illegal fundraising. Illegal fundraising. Weak move. I sipped my coffee and looked at the silent streets. My eyes went cold. Send all cash flow records and audit reports to the authorities. Make them public. And contact Mr. Zhou. Prepare tomorrow's joint statement. Understood. I'll handle it. Lu Rian turned to leave, then stopped. Fan Texi, get some rest. You haven't slept in 2 days. Go home after this. When the market opens, I'll bankrupt every rumor maker. The media storm died fast. Those slanderous outlets shut down one by one. Dynasty Capital didn't drop. With Mr. Zhou's public backing, it jumped 30%. I stood on the rooftop again. Zhongcheng glittered behind me. Bai Ningbing walked over in heels. She held a new partnership agreement. A faint smile touched her lips. Fantexi. You don't act 20 at all. Sometimes I feel, inside that young body, is some old monster. So is that praise? Or an insult? I took the agreement and flipped through it. The Min family's Southern labs have merged into Dynasty Tech. Our first AI chips are entering production. That meant I wasn't just a speculator anymore. I was becoming a real tech giant. Fidu is watching you. The Min family can protect you now, but not forever. You need an exit plan. I don't. Every step forward is my exit. Lu Ruyan came over with a coat. She draped it over my shoulders. She had accepted her place beside me. Quiet, proper. I looked at the distant lights. Deep down, I knew this was just the start. Last life. I wasn't even worthy of stepping into Bidu. But this time, every power in that city would remember Fan Kashi. I turned and walked back into the office. Bai Ningbing and Lu Ruyan followed beside me. Above the clouds, the jet sliced through the sky, heading straight for Bidu. I leaned back in my leather seat, flipping through the power map. Bai Ningbing prepared for me. Lu Ruyan sat beside me, checking our schedule after landing. President Fan. The pickup car is ready. But young Master Bei invited you to tonight's charity banquet. He expects you there on time. The Bei family. The one controlling half of Bidu Electronics. Last life, they collapsed after their cash flow broke. But right now, they were untouchable in Bidu. Bei inviting me now was obviously a warning to an outsider from Zhongcheng. Miss Li warned us about the Bei family. They play dirty. Should we skip the banquet? Skip it. They built the stage. If I don't go, who's gonna steal the show? The plane landed at Bidu Airport. I stepped outside, and the dry city air hit my face. I fixed my collar and walked toward the black Hongqi waiting outside. The car rolled into the city. Red walls blurred past the window. I stayed calm. Luxury cars packed the club entrance. A hostess in a kipao led me inside. The second I walked in, the room went dead silent. Dozens of judging eyes locked onto me at once. Bei Chuan, eldest son of the Bei family, stood nearby. He swirled his wine glass, looking arrogant as hell. When he saw me, a smug grin crossed his face. Then he raised his voice. So, this is Fan Kashi from Zhongcheng. You don't look that impressive. The crowd burst out laughing. I ignored his little act and sat on the nearby sofa. Young Master Bei, if I had 6 arms, I'd be a freak. I'm just a guy chasing money. Money in Bidu isn't easy. I heard you want into chips. Take my advice, go home before you lose everything. As he spoke, he slammed his glass onto the table. Red wine splashed out, staining my pants. I calmly wiped them with a handkerchief. Then I looked up and met Bei Chuan's eyes. Then I said slowly, Young Master Bei, instead of my pants, you should worry about that raw materials shipment seized in Southeast Asia, if I remember right. That shipment is your lifeline. Bei Chuan froze. His face turned pale, then completely white. The Bei family buried that incident. They locked it down tight. No outsider should know. Yet I said it casually. He stared at me. Fear finally showing. Fun banquet. But I hate Bei wine. I stood and fixed my suit. Then walked out under everyone's shocked stares. Back at the hotel, I gave my first order. Go to the South District gambling den. Find a man called Old Six. Bring him here. Whatever he owes, I'll pay double. Lu Ruyan wrote it down fast. An hour later, Old Six was brought to my room. He was covered in wounds. His face badly swollen. The second he saw me, he dropped down. President Fan, save me. Bei Chuan wants me dead. He really will kill me. He won't. Give me the Bei family's real financial records. I'll send you overseas and protect you for life. Old Six hesitated for 3 seconds, then nodded hard. Once I had the Bei family's records, I didn't release them. Instead, I called Bai Ningbing. You move fast. The Bei family barely moved. And you found their weak spot. President MI, get the funds ready. When the market opens, we take every core asset they have. After the call, I walked to the window and looked over Beidou at night. The next day, 30 minutes after opening, all three Bay-listed companies hit limit down. The exchange went crazy. The Beidou boss is watching from the sidelines. Couldn't sit still anymore. What's happening? Is someone shorting the Bay family? Who dares touch the Bay family? I sat in the exchange VIP room, with screens lined up before me. Bai Ningbing sat beside me, her fingers flying over the keyboard, sending order after order. Fan Kashi, this data is brutal. Their cash flow is already dead. They can't fight back now. This is just interest. Yesterday, Bai Chuan said I couldn't make money here, so I'll teach him how to lose it. Just then, Bai Chuan burst into the VIP room like a madman. Last night's arrogance was gone. He lunged at me, reaching for my collar. But my guards pinned him to the floor. Fan Kashi, you lunatic. You're digging your own grave. Baidu's circle won't spare you. They never will. Wrong, young Master Bai. Beidou only follows power, and right now, you're worthless to them. I signaled the guards to drag him out. Lu Ruyan stood nearby, watching the once proud Bai Chuan get dragged away like trash. She sighed softly. Don't feel bad. Tell finance. Start taking their core assets. I walked out of the exchange. The sunlight felt harsh. 7 days after the Bai family fell, Dynasty Capital opened its Beidou branch. The ceremony was huge. At the event, the same Beidou elites who once looked down on me now smiled brightly and lined up to congratulate me. President Fan, young and brilliant. Your future is limitless. Please take care of us in Beidou. Of course, let's make money together. Lu Ruyan wore a sharp black dress, moving smoothly through the guests and handling every detail for me. Bai Ningbing came over smiling. Congrats, President Fan. Now all of Beidou knows your name. It's just the beginning. Without President Mi's backing, I couldn't have taken Bai so fast. Bai Ningbing smiled. Something in her eyes had changed. We're more than partners now. Our interests are tied together. I looked at the noisy crowd below and suddenly remembered the day I was reborn. I remembered Lu Zhengguo throwing that 8 million check at me. After the ceremony, I stood on the rooftop terrace, looking over Baidu's lights. President Fan, your flight to Zhangcheng tomorrow is booked. Good. I turned toward my desk. The sunset lit up my back. The Zhangcheng River kept flowing. After returning from Beidou, I barely stopped working. I went straight into the global market plan. Lu Ruyan stood behind me, sorting the overseas acquisition files. President Fan, several North American tech giants are getting nervous. They sent a joint offer to buy our core AI algorithm. The price is tempting. A buyout. They're scared we'll surpass them. Tell them Dynasty Tech doesn't sell tech. Lu Ruyan hesitated, then quietly spoke again. One more thing. My father left the hospital yesterday. Before he goes home, he wants to cook for you himself. To thank you for clearing his debt. No need, Miss Lu. I told you, between us, it's only work. Find him a retirement home in Yuncheng. Use my personal account. Lu Ruyan suddenly froze. She lowered her head, her shoulders shaking slightly. Back to work. This afternoon's meeting with Bai Ningbing matters. Don't mess up. She took a deep breath, then quickly left the office. After the banquet ended, I walked alone by the Zhangcheng River. The wind was cold. Lu Ruyan ran after me, holding a trench coat. She gently placed it on my shoulders. She looked at me, eyes full of emotions she hid for years. Fan Kashi, if you never took that check, if you were still that broke kid, would you still love me like before? Even a little. I stopped walking and slowly turned toward her. The river lights hit her face, making her look pale. The cheapest thing in this world is late regret. You only regret it now, because I stand above you, holding everything you wanted. If I were still that poor Fan Kashi, running through the rain with an umbrella for you, you'd just find me pathetic. Her body shook hard. Her eyes turned red instantly. I know I was wrong. I really regret it. Watching you rise, step by step, made me realize what I lost was the most precious thing in my life. Too late. Some roads can't be walked twice. I gently pushed her away. letting the coat fall to the ground. Then I walked off. Behind me, Lu Rian sobbed, as she collapsed onto the bench. But none of it moved me anymore. The night before Dynasty Tech's global launch, Bai Ningbing suddenly walked in. With a legal team. She held a new investment agreement. Fan Kashi, the MI family wants in deeper. We want 40% of Dynasty Tech. Trying to take control, President MI. I picked up the contract. A cold smile on my lips. Bai Ningbing stepped closer. And pressed both hands on my desk. This comes from the old master. If you refuse, every AI lab the MI family controls, and every southern supply chain, will shut down tomorrow. President MI, if I dared take your investment. You really think I came unprepared? I smiled faintly, opened my laptop, and pulled up a hidden ownership chart. I slid it toward her. Bai Ningbing looked at the screen. Her face instantly went pale. She finally realized. Dynasty Tech's core algorithm keys were hidden beneath the old factory site I took from the Lu family back in Nanchang, and that land belonged to me alone. The MI family's labs and supply chains were just empty shells. President MI, if your family wants out, leave. Without me, those AI labs you brag about are nothing but scrap metal. Bai Ningbing stared at me, eyes filled with anger, frustration, and helplessness. After a long silence, she laughed. She put away the contract and looked at me. Fan Kashi, you're completely insane. Looks like I'll have to be your loyal partner. Smart choice. Pleasure working with you, President MI. After she left, I wiped the sweat off my forehead. The global product launch was packed. Spotlights lit up the center stage. Below sat global business elites, tech giants, and reporters. Lu Rian stood backstage, nervously clenching her fists. I straightened my tie. Then, through thunderous applause, I slowly walked on stage. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we define the future. The second I pressed the remote, the giant screen behind me displayed Dynasty Tech's first general AI system demo. The entire hall fell silent. Then came deafening cheers and gasps. Camera flashes exploded non-stop. My God, this tech is 20 years ahead. The crowd instantly erupted. After the launch ended, Lu Rian rushed over. Her eyes burned with excitement. President Fan, we really did it. This is only the start. Notify legal. Have them draft global AI industry standards immediately. We'll make the rules, not follow them. Bai Ningbing walked over and hugged me openly. She whispered in my ear, the MI family is convinced. Wherever Dynasty Capital goes, the MI family follows. I pushed open the venue doors. Outside were stars and flashing cameras. I rejected every interview and headed for the rooftop alone. The wind was strong up there. It messed up my hair. That's when I understood what rebirth really meant. It wasn't about revenge. It was about taking control of my own fate. 1 year later, I finally stepped away from work and returned to Yuncheng. Everything still felt familiar. Only the Lu and Fang families were gone. Wearing a black trench coat, I carried white chrysanthemums to a cemetery outside the city. I stopped before an unmarked grave. This was where I died in my last life. I lived enough for both of us this time, and I got your revenge. Rest easy now. After saying that, I turned and saw Lu Rian nearby, quietly watching me. She had already resigned. Now she taught at a primary school in Yuncheng, wearing a simple cotton dress. President Fan, long time no see. Long time no see. Miss Lu, we chatted like old friends, asking how life had been. No clinging, no drama, just the calm after waking from a long dream. Then we passed each other and walked our separate ways. Just then, Bai Ningbing called me. Her voice was full of excitement. Boss Fan, I've got great news. Dynasty Capital's market value just crossed 1 trillion. Got it. Where are you headed next? Somewhere nobody knows me. And I'm getting some sleep. After hanging up, I shut off my phone. Then I pulled out that faded $8 million check. With one clean tear, the scraps flew into the wind and vanished into the waves. Let the love go. Let the pride go. Let the old life go. This time, I lived brilliantly. I walked toward the sports car, started the engine, and disappeared down the highway. The legend of Fan Kashi wasn't over yet. The sports car raced along the coast. In my mind, Bai Ningbing's face kept appearing. 3 days after returning to Zhangcheng, Dynasty Tech held its celebration banquet at Cloudtop Palace. But my eyes kept drifting to the corner of the hall. Bai Ningbing stood there, speaking fluent English, with foreign tech giants. Today, she wasn't in her usual black suit. Instead, she wore a wine-red gown. As if sensing my gaze, she looked up at me and raised her glass slightly. A silent toast across the room. Halfway through the banquet, I got tired of the noise, so I slipped out to the terrace for air. Soon, heels clicked behind me. "Boss fan, you're good at hiding. $1 trillion company and you're still calm. It's just numbers." The MI family made a fortune following me. She took a sip of wine. Then her eyes turned serious. "Honestly, Fan Kashi, I've never respected anyone. You're the first. From 8 million in Yuncheng to $1 trillion empire. You did it in under a year. Nobody else could pull that off." I stayed quiet. This woman understood my ambition. She knew my methods. She wasn't afraid of my coldness, and she stood beside me. "What are you thinking about?" Seeing me distracted, she asked softly. I snapped back and looked into her eyes. Zhongcheng's lights reflected there, along with my reflection. I was thinking, finding someone who can truly stand beside you is harder than making money. "What's this, President Fan? Are you finally surrendering?" "Not surrendering. I just think, instead of rivals for life, maybe we should be partners for life. Not just in business." The moment I said it, even I froze for a second. But looking at her, I knew I meant every word. She stared at me. The shock in her eyes slowly faded. Then she wrapped her arms around my neck. She leaned in close. "Boss Fan, you said it yourself. Don't regret it later." We never announced our relationship. But we never hid it either. At Dynasty Capital, we were still partners, fighting side by side. But in private, we became each other's weakness and armor. Half a year later, Dynasty Capital officially entered aerospace. Once the news broke, the whole world was shocked again. After the press conference, I held Bai Ningbing's hand and faced every camera without fear. Dynasty Capital's future belongs to the stars, and my future has her in it. Bai Ningbing leaned against me, smiling brightly. "Fan Kashi and I are partners and lovers. From now on, we move forward together and take Dynasty Capital to the universe." Camera flashes exploded non-stop, capturing that moment forever. In the years after, Bai Ningbing and I stood side by side, expanding Dynasty Capital's empire together. We entered aerospace and launched Dynasty Capital's first satellite. We pushed deeper into AI, bringing Dynasty Tech systems into millions of homes. We invested in clean energy, bringing Chinese technology to the world. Dynasty Capital's name no longer echoed only in China. It echoed worldwide, and Bai Ningbing and I became the power couple everyone envied. Whenever people asked about the luckiest moment of my life, I always thought of the day I was reborn, and that $8 million check Lu Zhengguo threw at me. That was where my life truly began. I'd also remember that night. I met Bai Ningbing on the terrace. Her appearance brought color back into my life. I think the greatest gift of this life was getting another chance, seeing people clearly, earning real wealth, and meeting someone who could stand beside me and face the stars with me. Sometimes, I still thought about Yuncheng. I thought about Lu Rian, but my heart stayed calm. Passing by the elementary school one day, I saw her from afar. She wore a simple cotton dress and gently taught children to read. I only watched for a moment, then turned and held Bai Ningbing's hand, moving forward again. Now, I had the right woman beside me, an empire behind me, and stars ahead of me. The car drove onto the coastal highway again. Bai Ningbing leaned on my shoulder, breathing softly, sleeping peacefully. The sea breeze slipped through the window, carrying a salty scent. The road ahead was still long, just like the future waiting for me. Dynasty Capital was already worth over $1 trillion. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the end. The difference now was that I wasn't alone anymore. She was beside me now. That $8 million check was long gone, washed away by the waves, without a trace, just like the people from my past. What needed to stay behind was already gone. After living again, I built my fortune, created my empire, and found the right person. From here on, all I had to do was keep driving forward with her beside me. The sunlight grew warmer. Bai Ningbing shifted on my shoulder, letting out a soft hum. I lowered my head and kissed her forehead, then tightened my grip on the wheel, and drove toward the end of the highway. Fan Kexi's story was far from over.